Have you ever stopped to ponder about how your daily habits shape the person you are today? A simple question, yet it unravels a profound truth about our lives. Every single day, whether we realize it or not, we are subtly sculpting our identities through the repetition of small actions, thoughts, and behaviors. These are our habits. Our habits are like threads. On their own, they may seem insignificant. But when we weave these threads together, day after day, they form the fabric of our lives. They dictate our routines, affect our health, influence our decisions, and ultimately, shape our identities. Now, let's dive into the world of habits, guided by the insightful work of James Clear, author of the transformative book, Atomic Habits. Clear's book is not just a guide on how to build good habits and break bad ones. It's a deep dive into the power of small, seemingly insignificant habits, and how they can dramatically shape our lives and identities over time. Clear's central premise is simple yet powerful. Success doesn't hinge on massive, one-time actions. Instead, it's the product of small, consistent habits compounded over time. Think of it like a savings account, where the interest is the compound effect of your habits. And just like money, the power of habits lies in their ability to grow exponentially over time. Clear also explores the idea that our habits are a reflection of our identities. For instance, if you consistently read books, you're not just a person who reads, you're a reader. That's your identity. And here's where it gets interesting. Once you adopt that identity, you're more likely to continue the associated habit. So, our habits aren't just actions we perform, they're a mirror reflecting our identities. And by changing our habits, we can change that reflection. We can change who we are. Habits, as we'll find out, are not just about what you do, but who you become. To understand how to form good habits and break bad ones, we need to grasp the science behind how habits work. So, let's dive in. James Clear, in his seminal book Atomic Habits, identifies 4 stages of habit formation. These are cue, craving, response, and reward. These stages form a loop that our brains follow when performing a habit, good or bad. Understanding these stages is like having a roadmap to our subconscious, giving us the power to shape our habits. First up, we have the cue. This is a trigger for our brain to initiate a behavior. It's a bit of information that predicts a reward. Our minds are constantly analyzing our environment, scanning for cues linked to rewards, like the smell of food when we're hungry or the chime of a notification when we're bored. Then we have craving. This is the motivational force behind every habit. It's not the habit itself we crave, but the change in state it delivers. We don't crave the act of cleaning. We crave a clean environment. Understanding this subtle difference is key in manipulating our habits. Next is response. This is the actual habit you perform, whether it's a thought or an action. How easy a response is to perform has a big impact on whether a habit is formed. If a response requires more physical or mental effort than we're willing to expend, we're likely to give up. Finally, we reach the reward. This is the end goal of every habit, the thing that our brain is chasing. Rewards satisfy our cravings and teach our brains what actions are worth remembering in the future. By understanding these stages, we can start to manipulate our habits. We can create clear cues, make cravings attractive, responses easy, and rewards satisfying. It's like hacking our own brain, tweaking the code to create habits that serve us rather than sabotage us. Knowing the stages of habit formation gives us the tools to shape our habits and, in turn, our identity. So let's use these tools to build a better version of ourselves, one habit at a time. Starting a new habit can often feel daunting, but what if we could make it easy? Let's dive into a powerful strategy from the Atomic Habits book by James Clear called the 2-minute rule. This rule is a game changer for those who struggle to kickstart new habits. The 2-minute rule is a simple yet effective way to break down the barrier of getting started. It suggests that when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. Sounds too good to be true, right? But the magic lies in the simplicity. Let's say you want to start a habit of reading more. Instead of setting a goal to read a chapter or even a page, make your goal to just read 1 line. Yes, just 1 line. This task is so simple, it takes less than 2 minutes and it's almost impossible to say no to. Now, you might be thinking, but reading 1 line won't make me a voracious reader overnight. And you're absolutely right. The aim here isn't to transform you instantly. Rather, it's to get you started. The hardest part of any new habit is the initiation, the act of getting off the couch and doing it. Once you've started, it's much easier to continue doing the task. The 2-minute rule capitalizes on the inertia of human behavior. Once an action is initiated, it's more likely to gain momentum. So, by reducing your habit to a 2-minute version, you're making it easy to start. And once you start, you're more likely to keep going. This rule also leverages the power of gateway habits. These are small actions that naturally lead into larger, more productive behaviors. For example, reading one line could lead to reading a page, then a chapter, and eventually a book. The 2-minute rule isn't about the results you achieve in that short time. It's about using that time to make the first step easy and achievable. It's about conquering the initial resistance that all of us face when starting something new. The 2-minute rule simplifies habit formation, making the path to a new you much more approachable. Did you know that your environment plays a significant role in your habit formation? Let's dive into the fascinating world of environmental influence on our habits, inspired by the insightful observations in James Clear's Atomic Habits. Imagine your environment as the stage where your habits perform. If the stage isn't set right, the performance falters. So what does it mean to set the stage right? It's all about designing an environment that makes your desired habits easier and your undesired ones harder. For instance, if you're aiming to read more, placing books within easy reach around your house creates an environment that nudges you towards your goal. Conversely, if you're trying to cut down on screen time, keeping your phone in another room while you're working or spending quality time with family can make this habit less convenient, thus less likely to occur. The environment isn't just about physical spaces, it's also about the people around us. We tend to mirror the habits of those we spend the most time with. Surrounding yourself with people who embody the habits you wish to adopt can be a powerful catalyst towards achieving your goals. If you want to become more active, for example, joining a local sports team or a hiking club can provide the supportive environment you need. But here's the catch. No environment is perfect. There will always be temptations and distractions. The key is to anticipate them and have a plan. If you know that a bowl of candy on your desk tempts you, replace it with a bowl of fresh fruits. If social media notifications distract you, turn them off during your productive hours. Remember, small changes in your environment can lead to big changes in your behavior. It's about making the desirable actions easy and the undesirable ones hard. By consciously shaping your environment, you are not just changing your habits, you're also shaping your identity. By manipulating our environment, we can create a conducive space for our habits and consequently, our identity to flourish. Now that we understand how habits work, how does this translate to our identity? Let's delve into the intriguing concept of identity-based habits, as presented in James Clear's Atomic Habits. Our habits, in essence, are a mirror reflecting our identity back at us. Think about it. If you habitually reach for a book instead of the TV remote, you identify as a reader. If you instinctively lace up your running shoes each morning, you identify as a runner. Our habits are the embodiment of our self-image, our beliefs about ourselves. They are the daily actions that substantiate our perception of who we are. This is why changing habits can seem so daunting. It's not simply a matter of altering what we do, it's about changing who we believe we are. But here's the beauty of it. Just as our habits reflect our identity, they also have the power to shape it. The process of building new habits can foster a shift in our self-perception. By consciously forming habits that align with the person we aspire to be, we cast votes for that identity. Imagine yourself as a potter at the wheel. Each habit you form, each action you take is a stroke of your hands, shaping the clay of your identity. The more consistently you perform these actions, the more defined the shape becomes. It's an ongoing process, a dynamic interplay between what we do and who we are. It's important to remember that no single instance will transform your beliefs overnight. But each action casts a vote, making it easier to believe new things about yourself. And over time, these votes accumulate, gradually molding your identity. As we close this scene, it's crucial to remember this powerful insight from James Clear's Atomic Habits. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. So let's be mindful of our habits, for they are the silent architects of our identity.